What's up, everyone? Web3 is constantly being developed every day, and it's largely gonna be here soon, and a lot of people don't understand it. So in this video, I'm gonna be breaking down the basics of Web3, what it is, what it does, and how it relates to blockchain, cryptocurrency, and the metaverse. But before you can truly understand what Web3 is, I have to go through what Webs 1 and 2 are. So let's start with Web 1.0. Web 1.0 was a much simpler time. Well, kinda. It was categorized as a time from the 1990s to the early 2000s. You see, when the web was first starting to become popular with the masses, it was a much different animal. During this time, the web was largely what's called read-only. Most people weren't able to create content on the web, so they could only consume content on the web. This is because in order to create content on the web, you had to be a web developer. You had to know a coding language like HTML. HTML is a pretty basic programming language. It can't do a whole lot. So back then, all the web was just text and some images. A lot of people were just typing information straight from books onto the internet. This was also the time when pages were hyperlinking to each other. They were creating kind of an actual web, or beginning to form the foundation of the web that we know today. Back in this era, something else was pretty different. You see, every website has to have its own data, and that data needs to be stored somewhere. So back in the day, the only way to have your own website was to have your own data server. And a lot of people that were experimenting with the internet were just keeping these servers in their homes, in their garage, in their bedrooms, whatever. And these servers were really large, like think the size of a refrigerator. And they were incredibly expensive, tens of thousands of dollars. This server would run all of your back-end computing. So as you can imagine, the barrier to entry to have your own website online was very high. Oh, and another thing, if your server went down for any reason, your website just went down. There'd be no way for anyone to access it. Alrighty, let's move on to Web 2.0. This is categorized as the time between the early 2000s to now. So with Web 2.0, the web transitioned from a read-only format to read and write. This is because as code became more sophisticated, people began creating tools that made it easier for other people to create content online. This is where we got our WordPresses, our Shopifys, our Twitters, our YouTubes, our Instagrams. All these platforms and apps make it absolutely as easy as possible for anyone to upload pictures, videos, podcasts, anything on the internet. So the biggest difference between Web 1.0 and 2.0 is that now anyone can be a content creator. So anyone, no matter what your computer skills, can publish content to the web. And as I'm sure you can imagine, this made the web grow exponentially. As a result of everyone becoming content creators on the web and the web growing at an exponential rate, the websites we interacted with became smarter. As in, the more we interacted with them, the more they learned about us. Over the past 20 years, we've been feeding these companies and websites our information in exchange for a more tailored experience. The companies have said that in this situation, everyone wins. The websites win because they get to collect our precious data and sell it to other companies for money so that they can target us with tailored ads. The user, you and I, win because we get a more tailored internet experience and we're only being shown ads and content that we care about. However, us, the users, get to participate in none of the financial upside of this deal. And things get really interesting when companies like Meta lie about what they're really doing with your data, which has happened in the past. So you can form your own opinion on whether or not you think that ad tracking is good or bad. However, good or bad, the truth of the matter is that ad tracking has been one of the most lucrative businesses in human history. Another super important difference between Web 1.0 and 2.0 is cloud computing, and it's really important that you understand this. Remember when I said in Web 1.0, in order to make your own website online, you needed your own server? Well, our boy Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, came up with a solution for that. You see, Jeff was working on his own server farm for Amazon 20 years ago. He realized that he could make money just renting out server space to other companies so that they can put their websites online. This was an absolute game changer for the internet. No longer did a person have to pay tens of thousands of dollars to have a big server in their home in order to get online. People and companies could simply lease space from Amazon Web Services, which is what his server company was called, AWS, and they can get online right away. All the back-end infrastructure was handled by Amazon. They could simply lease space for a monthly fee, and Amazon would take care of all of the difficult back-end stuff. This was also safer because Amazon had a mature infrastructure and probably better security than you, so it was less likely that your website would experience any downtime. Today, AWS makes up about 32% of market share when it comes to cloud computing on the internet. Other players in the space are Google, Microsoft, and GoDaddy, but none of them are as dominant as AWS. Everyone uses them for their digital infrastructure, from Uber to Twitter to McDonald's. Even companies that are Amazon competitors in some areas like Netflix are utilizing Amazon servers to run their businesses. And this blew my mind. Even Apple is using Amazon Web Services to house its iCloud data. They don't even use their own servers for that. That's crazy. That's kind of why it's impossible, when people say they're boycotting Amazon. It's literally everywhere. Fun fact, most of Amazon's money comes from leasing out server space. The Amazon store is actually a money-losing operation. So why is this important? Well, first of all, control. A lot of people like to make the case that the internet today is decentralized, not controlled by a single government, person, or party. However, this chart paints a different picture. When almost a third of the internet is in the hands of one company, that seems a little centralized to me. So now that you got the basics down, let's head on over into what Web3 is. Web3 can be summed up by these components: digital ownership and digital scarcity. And these two things were made possible by blockchain technology. If you don't know what blockchain is, quick background: blockchain is a decentralized ledger that can't be edited. When you attach a blockchain to digital things, you can track where the digital thing has been, where it started, with one of various consensus methods. Everybody running the software has to agree that an addition is being made. With blockchain, you can attach that ledger to a fixed amount of digital things so that you create digital scarcity. And because of how the technology is designed, the data on these various blockchains can only be accessed by the person holding what's called the blockchain or crypto wallet. So it's decentralized, only controlled by the person holding the digital asset, and the ledger makes it scarce. So in the future, online content and online things are going to be on decentralized blockchains that are outside the control of any central authority. Right now, most online sites and experiences are controlled by a central party. If Facebook doesn't like something that you're posting, they have the power to take it down. If you acquire digital goods in video games and the video game decides to change the rules, they can take your digital goods away. Okay, hold it one sec. I know a lot of you are going to say, oh, Facebook's already decentralized. It has more than one server. Yeah, duh. Like, obviously, but it's still controlled by one company, right? One company. All right, back to the video. The point I'm trying to make here is that things online don't really belong to you. They belong to the company or the entity that made them.
Hey, can I do a tall caramel frappuccino, please? And
caramel frappuccino?
Yeah, and
So for example, if Facebook were running on the decentralized Ethereum network, it would be harder for Facebook to take down content because there'd be lots of computers running the Facebook software, which is basically running the company. And it'd also make it more difficult for Facebook to be hacked because a hacker would need to hack 51% of the network, which is way more difficult. Who makes decisions in a decentralized company where no one's technically in charge? Check out the video in the description. What is a DAO? I explain exactly how that works. Because this is the case, the goods and digital currency you accumulate on these platforms would truly be yours, because the platform would not have the power to remove them from your possession once they're in your wallet, because it's decentralized. So that's basically the first aspect of Web3. Decentralization and blockchain have made it possible for us to own digital things. The next aspect of Web3 that is super fascinating is digital scarcity. Because blockchain is a ledger that can't be manipulated, you are able to see where a digital good has been that is on the blockchain all the way back to the very first transaction. Because of this, you can only make a certain amount of digital assets have the exact same ledger. That means all the digital assets with the same ledger are scarce. You can tell which digital copy is fraudulent or not just by verifying it on the blockchain. So right now, digital things are just computer code that can be replicated without any effort or energy, just copy and paste. Because of that, it's hard to tell if something digital is the original. And because of that, it's difficult to give digital things value because a huge component of value is scarcity. Once blockchain technology was attached to digital currency creating Bitcoin, the game changed. Once we were able to program that with smart contracts creating Ethereum, the game changed even more. So this is where we are now. So let's recap, shall we? The consumer internet has been around for over 30 years, and during that time has gone through some very important stages, and we're about to enter into the next very important stage. Web 1.0 was from the 90s to the early 2000s. It was read-only. Only people that could program computers could publish content to the web. To add to the already high barrier to entry, it was super expensive because you had to buy your own servers and run your own backend. Web 2.0 was the early 2000s to present day. As code became more sophisticated, people began making tools that allowed anyone to publish content to the web because they didn't have to do any difficult backend stuff or pay for expensive servers because Amazon already handled all that infrastructure. This is also the era when companies began tracking people online, creating one of the most lucrative business models ever. And now finally, Web3 is about digital ownership and digital scarcity. Blockchain technology has allowed for us to own digital things because they are outside of the control of a centralized body, and it can only be accessed by the person holding the wallet. So if it's your wallet, it's your data. Next, blockchain allows for digital things to be tracked, which makes digital things scarce, adding value to them. I hope this video provided you with a little better understanding of what Web3 is and what it can do. The technology is constantly evolving. There's a lot of aspects to it, but hopefully I was able to cover the basics for you. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I also do one-on-one Web3 consulting, so check out that link in the description as well. Also, don't forget to sign up for my weekly Web3 newsletter, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll check back with you guys in another video. Peace out.